welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. This is the only daily MSME platform in the country, a show where you can voice your concerns and get answers to all your queries directly from our team of experts. We understand the issues that you, the MSME entrepreneur, face, and this show aims to bring you the most relevant and the most updated information on everything related to your businesses. Tonight, to answer all of your queries, I have with me in studio Prabhakar Dalal. He's a former executive director of the Export-Import Bank of India. We also have Sushant Mitra, founder and CEO of Lead Angels. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for being with us here tonight. Let's quickly then take in our first query, and this is an email that's coming to us from K. Nazim. He's written in to us. Do remember the email ID is leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can send in your queries there. Nazim has written in to us to say that due to competition in the market, he wants to know what can be done to ensure that the products that he's dealing with stand out. And of course, leading to an increase in profit. So while we don't know the nature exactly of his business, what would you recommend to him? Because we speak to a lot of companies, for example, in the middle of talking about the year-enders and the wedding season. It's such a fragmented market. So if there's one or two things you can tell our viewers in terms of how to really stand out in a competitive space.
Mr. Nazim, if you want your product to stand out in the competition, you must know what your USP is, unique selling proposition. Is it that your product is first of its kind? Is it that the qualities of your product are better than those of your competitor? Is it that your cost of production is low and therefore you can sell the product at lower price than your competitors? So you must identify what your USP is and then position yourself according to that.
In a crowded marketplace, you have to be very different from the rest. And sometimes it's not just the product, but also the service, the packaging, all things surrounding the product, the customer support. Everything takes, has an element in that. And the other thing is that it's not that he needs to do it once. This is a continuous exercise as you go along, because new competition will come, old competition will go out. It's a dynamic market.
Sure. All right, Nazim, that's in response to your query, and all the best when it comes to really ensuring that your products stand out in a competitive market. Let's take in our next query, and this is a call that's coming to us from Jay Agrahari. Jay, what's your question for our experts?
How we can attract the investor towards the company in the startup company? How we can reach the fund?
Okay, so he's a startup. So let me start with you, Sushant. What would you recommend to him?
So, I'll put the other way, that what do we as investors look for, and rather than, so essentially what investors, angel investors like Lead Angels and other investors are looking for is companies which can scale very rapidly. That's the first thing, that they should be able to scale very rapidly. Two, that they should not be capital intensive. That means that for selling every unit of product, the capital intensity should not be high. Third is that the team should be able to execute what they have planned to do and have the ability to grow with the company, so that every couple of years, if the company moves to the next scale, the team must be capable today to be able to transform themselves over the next period, 3 years, 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, he has made very valid points. I would like to add some more points. One is, for a startup, the business idea should be brilliant and they should be patient that he wants to succeed in that. Then long-term competitive advantage should be there. There should be a potential for better than average profitability, scalability he has already mentioned, and then there should be a possibility for the exit for the investor 5 years down the line. So if these features are there, then the investor would be interested in investing in such startups.
Okay, so you're in the best possible place then to try and raise funds, Jay. Our next query is coming to us on social media. Dhirendra Kandailwal has written in to us on Facebook saying that institutional credit and funding for MSMEs is still very hard to access and the process remains cumbersome. He wants to know from our experts what he can do to tackle this situation. Do you want to give a shot at it?
Things have improved for the better. The ecosystem for providing finance to SMEs has improved a great deal. Earlier there was a problem with regard to collaterals, or the SMEs are not able to draw up the proper financial statements, and therefore there was some difficulty in accessing credit from the institutions like banks and financial institutions, NBFCs. But now many banks have opened dedicated SME branches, dedicated departments are there, and they provide counseling also. So it is not all that difficult, and also a lot of other facilities are being given, like without collaterals up to 1 crore if guarantee of CGT MSE is available, and a lot of other concessions are being given, and therefore it is not difficult to access finance provided you are sure about your business plan. Your business plan should be good, and you should have the financial projections done as per the requirement of the banking institutions.
So I think what is interesting is, of course, the situation has improved, and what has also improved is that now there are private players in the industrial, commercial lending space. So there are more sources of commercial lending opportunity, borrowing opportunities, and also competition is good. So eventually the customer, that is the startups and MSMEs, will benefit from this competition.
Dhirendra, that's in response to your query about how you can go about raising funds. Our next query is coming to us from Arvi Patel, and Arvi has written in to us on Facebook saying, for any business to run smoothly, training resources are very important. She wants to know how they can go about doing a training need analysis, or a TNA, so that they train their employees as per their area of expertise.
So I would say the best way for a small organization to train its people is to do on-the-job training. So let them get onto the job. Maybe they can go as an accompaniment, can be a sort of trained and mentored by some of the senior people, and go out. And the best way to learn is to go into the water and swim. How to understand the training needs is a more complex exercise to do. Is to find out from customers, from their vendors, what is missing from the operations of the organization, and then define those gaps, and then find ways of training people.
He has made a right point, but there are 4 features. One is which training needs analysis entail. One is what are the training needs? Is it in customer service? Is it in technology, production, marketing? And once the training needs of the organization are identified, then one has to assess what are the current competencies available within the organization, and then different training methods, whether it should be done on the job, it should be done externally, classroom training, mentor-mentee kind of arrangement. So that is once training methods are identified, then there should be evaluation of training and whether it has been done effectively or not. So I think training needs analysis will entail all these things.
Arvi, so that's the quick takeaway for you. If you are looking at an effective training method for your employees at your MSME, do look at hiring a qualified HR professional who will be able to walk you through what is best suited for your company. Our next query is an email that's coming to us from Ajay Mehta. Ajay has written in to our experts to say, how can an SME enter new markets, especially when such SMEs don't have the budgets which are required to hire full-time sales teams, particularly in the US and the UK? Sushanto, we've discussed this previously, but
Right.
that was more in terms of hiring of people who can deliver on site. But if you're looking at marketing teams, how much of that, in your opinion, can be possibly done offshore? How much should be done on site? What do you recommend?
So I would say, finally, if it's a constraint of budget, the budget is the primary determinator of what sort of infrastructure that you will have. But there are multiple opportunities. One is that you could have part-time salespeople, you could have business partners who, sell on a commission basis, and maybe a small amount is fixed, but a large amount of that is on a variable basis as they sell. The other thing that one could explore is actually have a sales team from here in India, making those phone calls, setting up the appointments, and so on and so forth. So a lot of stuff can be done from India itself, and a lot of companies have successfully done that. And even demos, and can be done over the net and so on. So you can reduce a lot of legwork there. So you could actually do all that legwork from here, and then somebody goes and travels in those countries for a certain period of time and comes back. That is another alternative that people could do.
Sure.
Direct selling is one of the methods of selling. You can do it through distributors, you can do through wholesalers, you can participate in some fairs. And I know of companies in textiles and pharmaceuticals also, they are selling their products through distributors and they are very successful. And as the volumes grow, then you can increase your number of people stationed there, and some can visit from here. So it's not difficult to really do selling in US and UK if you don't have the manpower at this point of time.
Okay, so it's a mix and match then.
So a lot of software companies, for example, have their sales teams sitting here who do the entire sales through phone and web. Nobody actually visits the customer, including a demo, customization, even customer service is done from here to customers overseas.
And it looks like the cost of visas is only going to increase going forward into 2017. So great, that's in response to your query. Ajay, do look at a mix and match in terms of both on-site as well as off-site talent. Let's in fact take a very quick break at this point, but we'll continue taking your queries on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're continuing to take in all your queries here with our panel of experts. The next one is a call that's coming to us from Nishir Gurhandas. Go ahead, Nishir.
We are a software company and offer web portals, mobile apps, cloud solutions with an impressive client list like Taj Hotels, Just Look Hospital, RPG Cables, and many others. To continue adding big names to our client list, we feel that our employees need to be continuously groomed, trained, and prepare them to take on additional responsibilities. For this, I would like to have an expert advice on how to go ahead with this.
All right. Thanks very much for that query, Nishir. So one would, of course, be the fact that and just before we took the break, we were talking about how a lot of the sales can be done on the phone. Doesn't necessarily need to be, face to face with a client. But Nishir has a specific concern about essentially the amount which is required to be spent. I'm assuming that's the query about the cost that's required to really groom employees to ensure that they're in a position to meet employees. What would you to meet clients? What would you recommend?
I think it's a very specialized field, web portals, mobile apps and all. So the training that is available is very limited, and therefore I think the seniors should mentor the juniors, and also if required lateral recruitment can be done, and or send the employees who need training outside for some secondment or that kind of thing, so that they get trained. Plus, if you want to groom them, one is that you empower them, you give them the the authority, and accountability should go hand in hand. You can't just make them accountable and not give them the authority. So there are different ways of grooming people, empowering them, and they can come up. But of course, training is very important, and therefore seniors should also take on this responsibility, and wherever possible, if external training is available, they should impart that, or they should recruit from other organizations. Certain training needs can be made.
Sure.
Absolutely. The only thing I would suggest is that young people, sometimes sales people don't know how the other parts of the organizations work, or the people who are in the development side don't know how the sales team works, and sometimes a better understanding of how the whole organization works is useful for early young team members. So moving them in through different jobs and getting to understand different aspects of the business might be help them to grow faster, and also giving them multiple responsibilities just outside their scope of work could also be one area of improvement.
Nishir, thanks for sending in that query, and I hope it's been sufficiently answered. Let's take our next question. This is coming to us from Manihar Sikandar, who's written in to us on Facebook to say that in competition with the Chinese market, what can be done by MSMEs to ensure that their products stand out? And very similar to the first question that we had taken in terms of how to stand out in the domestic market, particularly when you're competing with someone based on price? What would you recommend? I remember a query that had come in very similar to this on one of our previous shows, and our expert had said, don't fight it on price, fight it on quality. What do both of you gentlemen recommend?
No, absolutely, because what China does is that they produce goods on a massive scale, and therefore the cost of production is low. And at times, if there is glut in the Chinese market, they dump those goods into other markets like India, and there the price is very low. But then the quality is not always good, and therefore you should brand your products. You should stress on the quality of products, the longevity of the product, durability, and what if it is an equipment, after sales service, and issues like that. They should do that. Even I remember that for steel products, for example, steel companies in India had to suffer losses, but the government realized that there has been dumping from China, and therefore they imposed minimum import price for steel, and now steel companies have started doing well.
Okay.
So that is also one point
Sure.
that can be kept in mind.
I would also add innovation, because one way of being innovative will also help them to compete with the Chinese, because if they have large scale, so for them to change their designs, change their packaging, etc., will take time. Whereas if you are innovative and you keep on changing your product designs and your packaging and your branding, that will help you to beat competition.
Okay, that's in response to your query, Manihar. Our next one is coming to us via email from Harpreet Singh. Harpreet has written in to say it's always, IT is always facing challenges, and says that the burnout is an ever increasing concern as budgets become tighter and workloads increase. Secondly, productivity is a concern as well. Each technological advancement, he says, has been a tremendous leap that greatly increases user productivity, but wants to know what will be the next great productivity innovation. Will it be the cloud? Will it be mobile computing? And can these technologies deliver real significant productivity gains? That's quite a bit. And can anyone really guess what the future is looking like? What would you recommend?
But I would say, of course, these things, cloud, mobile computing, etc., is very much there. But I think what is coming in the future is, artificial intelligence. Is saying a lot of tasks that people are doing are getting automated. You have virtual secretaries, you have virtual shop assistants. So a lot of things, even virtual programmers who will program software for you. So a lot of work that we do in our daily lives will get automated, and that would actually significantly increase productivity. It also means that a lot of challenges for businesses which are providing these services as we go forward.
Yeah, mobile computing is also something like, a lot of changes are happening in that. Besides voice communication, data communication, digital payment, and your internet and everything. I just saw one Amazon Go app where you just have to show your mobile, go inside, you do the shopping, you put the things in, take it out, and just walk out. There is no cashier, nobody, no security. Your account gets debited automatically. So in future, I think mobile will be the thing, like your tablets and your laptop will not be so much of use, but everything will be there in mobile. That's what I feel.
Absolutely.
What about the first part of the question in terms of the higher burnout and how to ensure that burnout in an industry like this is something that can be contained?
So you have to keep your teams current with the new technologies, and that again means continuously train them on new technologies. When you're recruiting people, get people who are fast learners, because as technologies will change, they will have to learn new technologies, and if you're not capable of doing that, then it becomes a problem. So recruit people who are fast learners and be ready to train them on new platforms as they come.
Yeah, I mean, job rotation is one such thing. Like if they get burned out, they can be rotated within the organization in different verticals, so that that fatigue element can be taken care of.
Okay. That's in response to your query, Harpreet. Trust our experts have been able to sufficiently answer really what the future is looking like when it comes to technology. A very tough question indeed, but I think at best we can hazard a guess what it's going to look like. Our last query then on the show, as we're running out of time, is coming to us on Facebook from Rahul Beg. Rahul says that they are a B2B and a marketing company, and that their biggest challenge is executing campaigns. The lack of systems to help them with really the marketing execution is the death that many great marketing ideas, opportunities and relationships are lost because processes failed. Rahul wants to know how can they execute campaigns in a proper and smooth manner. There seems to be a bit of a starting problem really as far as Rahul is concerned. What do you say?
So, any operation which has multiple steps and, dependent on multiple people, which I assume that their business, marketing business, events, whatever they are doing, is going to, just managing that process is going to be a challenge, right? And there are now a lot of software that is available for managing these projects. So, there is project management software available, some of them which are even free to manage large complex projects. In fact, the usage was from the software world, but it can very well be used for on the ground operations that you would be doing. So, I would suggest that you look at some of the software that is there. And the other of course is getting everybody on the same page of different elements of vendors, team members and the clients on the same page, so that they can all see how the project is going and where the bottlenecks are and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Correct. He is facing a problem in B2B campaigning because the systems and processes are not good. So, unless your systems and processes are robust, you will lose relationships, you will lose business, which he has rightly acknowledged. And therefore, you should have a good system design, contact some expert, depends on his size of the business and the nature of business that he is in, and have a good system and processes in place so that he doesn't lose business, he doesn't lose clients. Because at this point of time, we cannot tell what kind of.
But there are workflow, workflow management software available at free, and some of them at a very low cost, which he can explore using.
Okay, Rahul, so that is going to be your best bet then. We've run completely out of time, gentlemen. Thank you all both very much for being with us here tonight. Do remember, if you have any queries for our panel of experts, you can always write in to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number you see flashing on your screen. We promise to have all your queries answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.